Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest Series 5, Book 1, Crab, Master of the Sea. That's right guys, we're back with another series of Beast Quest. And man, I'm looking forward to this one. So, let's start things off with the new plot. I've got my notes ready if I need them, so here we go. Tom and Eleanor are back, and they follow Adaro to his chamber. Turns out that his father's there also, and they reveal that the amulet they got from the last quest is really a map. It has a map on it. But it's not a map of Avantia, it's a map of another kingdom. This other kingdom is called Gwildor, that's how I pronounce it. So that's where Tom's next quest will be, because in the last series, they said in the last book, that there'll be more quests for you. For us, we didn't understand what that meant because Malville was gone, but there's other things, like this other kingdom called Gwildor that's in danger, so that's what Adaro meant. And of course, I like the fact that the amulet was, like a puzzle piece, leading also as a map to the next thing. I like how it all connects together. So, the amulet will be our new map for the series, this season anyway. Anyway, Gwildor turns out to be the twin kingdom of Avantia, that with its own Beast's Master, because the Beast Master in Avantia is Taladon the Swift, and there's a Beast Mistress in Gwildor, who is called Freya. The good beasts, like Avantia, have been taken over by an evil spell from an evil wizard, just like Malville did in the first series. So, that thing, it's like reusing a plot from before. How I take that, to be honest, it depends how they do with it. If they do it good, it ends up working really well. But if they do it to a point where it gets boring, bleh. But luckily, Series 5, takes it pretty well, actually. They know they've done before, but they do everything they can with it and make it as good as they can. So, turns out our new villain is the twin, and this is going to sound confusing. Okay. Like I said, Gwildor is the twin kingdom, so this is like everything is like, there's a twin to everything. It's not that they're related, I guess, maybe, I don't know. I hope not. But, basically this is like the twin kingdom, like the double. Anyway, so the evil wizard is Velmal. Velmal is basically, I think Malville's name spelled the same letters, just reversed in a way. Which is clever, I guess. So Velmal is the new wizard. He's not that much different to Malville, only that his robes are different, and I picture him more menace and more cackly, and more a skinnier dude. That's why I picture him in mind. Even though there are images of him, but that's how you decide it. So they've got to go and free those guys. So they all take their companions and teleport to the beach and start their quest. They get into a boat. My question is, does Tom still have his armor's powers back? However, that question is not answered so far, so I don't know about that. We continue on, and they take their boat ride, but straight when they're on their boat ride, they bump into Crab right away. Because they encounter these rocky rocks, but they're not rocks, turns out they're parts of Crab's shell. And they start to begin the Beast Quest without any hesitations. It's time to begin the series, chuck you right in it. And that's another thing I like, because in the other previous series, I think series 4 or 3, series 4 and 3 had a set up exposition, but it took too long to get to the beasts and stuff. However, they've learned from that mistake, or maybe they haven't, I don't know, but they've done it really well this time. I like it, because it's not too, they gave us exposition whilst we're doing it, whilst the characters are facing more challenges. So I like that. It's like they're still doing it, and we're still learning things as we go. Anyway, so we're starting off fighting up against Crab, and they end up crash landing onto the beach of Gwildor with the whiter sand in a different setting and no clouds in the sky. It's not like as if it's menacing as Gorgonia, but it still looks different and fresh, like this beautiful land has been attacked by a wizard. However, speaking of the wizard, they are introduced to Velmal, and he's with a woman and that woman is actually the mistress Freya. turns out she's evil now. I don't know how. Maybe Velma put a spell on her, or maybe she chose to be. But whatever the case, they're working together, and that's it. And they look forward to watching the fight as Tom tries to defeat Crab. Or if he can, in his mind. But of course we know he's going to, so there we go. So they go away, and Tom says he's going to beat him. You know, like he does. I'll blood my veins kind of thing. Tom and you know, rescue a boy who's been in the water, of course. And it turns out the boy's been poisoned by Crab, because he's got this slime all over his body. Meanwhile, Tom gets the amulet out while they leave the boy, and they see that the amulet, whatever, wants him to go into the woods to see something. And he goes in the woods, and he bumps into Wizard Adaro, and Wizard Adaro says that there are these mystical prizes that the Mistress has that will help you defeat these beasts. So Tom has to find these prizes, but he doesn't understand what that means. Storm helps him find one, which is the pearl, and he uses the pearl and goes back to Eleanor and the boy to, you know, help him beat Crab before he comes back. So Tom goes back to see the boy, who reveals that he's called Castor, and he goes on about a prophecy that the person who comes to help save the beast kind of thing, but you need to be a son of Gwildor according to the prophecy, so I doubt Tom is. Tom denies that he is part of this prophecy, but that's another thing altogether. Mind you, they do set up a plan to capture Crab by using Castor's fishing bait, because he's a fisherman or a fish boy, and his ship got damaged by Crab, so they used whatever's left of him to make a trap for Crab to come in. However, that trap backfires as a shark gets tangled in. However, that shark actually is just what they needed to lure Crab in, so it kinda worked. And then they try and take Crab down that way. Meanwhile, Eleanor tosses him the pearl, and Tom misses it. It goes into the water, and Tom goes in to go back and get it, because he needs it to beat the beast with it, so there's that. And Crab goes in after him, and then he's almost about to drown, but Tom grabs the jewel, but he can't make it back to the top of the water, but turns out that the pearl allows him to breathe underwater. I think I skipped this, but Castor says that there's a legend that the pearl can breathe in the water, and it turns out it's true, so the pearl does have magic powers, as will the other 5 mystical prizes that we'll come across on our quest will. So maybe the prophecy is true? Well, we'll see. Meanwhile, Crab comes down to face Tom, and they're going into this big epic fight, and after many slashes and attacks, Tom doesn't really want to hurt the beast because he's a good guy running under an evil spell, but he still needs to find out what's causing the enchantment. The only thing that he's been looking around all over him and there's nothing there, just the natural things on the beast, the pincers, the slime, the tentacles, all that stuff, and there's no thing noticeable. Crab's about to make his move. Tom does a cut, leaking all this slime off him, which hopefully does some damage. Now Crab is about to make the finishing blow, but he stops. Turns out Crab is actually free. And how is this? Well, turns out the slime was causing the enchantment spell on him. And now that it's all been leaked off him because of that attack that Tom did, leaking it off him, he's free again, and he rescues Tom from drowning and takes the pearl up with him, and they all go back to the surface. You know, Tom tells Eleanor that it's okay, everything's good, and Crab sails off into the ocean, free from Velmal's spell. And now there's just Taladon and Adaro show up, and Tom informs the news, Crab is free, and they encounter Velmal and Freya, who's actually working with Velmal. Taladon and Adaro are shocked by this and talk in secrecy behind Tom's back, and Tom thinks they're hiding something from him, but that's where we end off on our story there. So that was Crab, Master of the Sea. In all entirety, I think this is a decent read. Probably one of the best stories we've had when it comes to starting books. And the story goes up at a very good pace. There's not too much exposition, like I said. It's all freshly paced, and it really builds you into the series. Series 1, 2, I'm trying to think of the other ones. 3, what was 4? Okay. Yeah, this is probably the best starter book out of all 5 of them in order. When it comes to starting books, this one takes the cake. But anyway, like I say, I would probably put it there. So this is like the best starter book. And of course, it's our first, we're back to a water-type monster again, so that's another plus. We haven't been to another water beast for a while, and it makes sense. Gwildor probably has one. And I'm happy to read this one, so in all, it was a very good book to read, and I'm looking forward to see what Series 5 else has to offer along the quest on our series. It's great to be back with these reviews, and look forward to next time, guys, with Book 2. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest Series 5, Book 2, Hawkite, Arrow of the Air. This has got to be right now the best book in Series 5 for me. And to be honest, normally that's not really hard to beat, really, normally, is it? Because when you do past the first one, it always gets better. I've said this before many times. But truly, honestly, of course, it is the better book so far. And it's a very good book for Tom right now. To me, this series right now does feel to be Tom's right series. And I'm going to explain more as I go through the story. So, Tom and friends have to go after the next beast, but they also need to find the prize, of course, that will free it from Velmal's spell. They look at their map, and they have to go and find the prize first, of course. Freya is stated in the book to be under a spell, so we know she's under a spell now. It's not really that she chose to do this; she's under a spell, so I know that. And he has a strange. Tom feels like he has a strange, close feeling to Freya. But what could this be? Also, Tom's hand is still injured from the previous book, yes, with Crab, because his hand got the poison effect, or like it's still wounded. So I don't think the poison is as bad. It's still wounded though, so he can't grab his sword pretty well. So there is this mysterious vibe of he has this feeling for Freya, but he doesn't understand it. But even I don't know, but I have a theory why that is, and some of you might know what my theory is. Maybe it could be right, maybe we're wrong, but who knows. Anyway, Tom and Eleanor come across a fork in the road, and of course they have the help of Silver to locate the next prize, and it's hidden in a village with starving people. And of course Tom has a strange feeling that he's been here before, which also adds to my theory and what I think is going to go on here. Alright, so I'm not going to say my theory until if it comes out true. If it doesn't, I'll just say what it was when the plotting does happen and is revealed. Tom and friends meet. They assume to believe the leader of the village, who this is elder woman, who helps them through. And she takes them to their house basically, and she shows them a painting of them and Tom and Eleanor's on it, and there's the ring which is the next prize, and they grab it, and they're surprised that this painting was just like them, and it goes back into the first book of the prophecy stuff being true, even though, and that says, how could Tom be the prophecy one? He wasn't born in Gwildor, he was born in Avantia. Everything so far is going into my theory so far, and I feel like it might be true, but I can't be sure on it until that happens. But I am really excited for this because of the whole Tom plot, because of the mystery element and the stuff there. That's what's engaging me in this series. So, Tom uses the old woman basically tells what the prize. I talked about the painting, and I said that the painting doesn't show actually it doesn't show them where the prize. It doesn't show them the prize. It shows them where the prize is. Sorry, the prize is in a lake, and it turns out to be a ring. They go into the lake. Oh, mind you, they're in a village of starving people, which I haven't said that before. So because everyone's starving because Hawk has destroyed all the crops. So they are really risky. Tom goes into the water, uses the power of the magic pearl to go and breathe and get it. He comes to the surface, but of course the villagers hear the conversation, and grab them all and say, give us the ring. But then Tom makes a bargain in exchange, a risky one of course, to exchange them the breathing underwater pearl in exchange to keep the ring. Of course Tom does it, but he feels risky. Was that the right move, because they might need that power later, and he says hopefully we'll have to go about it. Mind you, there are some funny references with the ring, give us the ring, like Gollum from Lord of the Rings. Tom figures out the ring allows him to camouflage, and they can, if he stands still and not move, but like slowly as well, so they can use it to face Hawkeye. And Tom has a plan. They go to find Hawkeye, who's at this field. Tom has a plan to go and use Eleanor as bait to sort of lure Hawkeye out. Tom doesn't want to do it because it's his friend, but Eleanor is brave and she says, we're in this together and it's for the good of the Gwildor. So she does it. But of course the wind picks up and it turns out that the beast spots him first and he goes for him. And then there's this big scuffle fight. Tom uses the ring eventually to I'm trying to make up my points. Oh yeah, and I'll bring that up later. Also the fact that so Tom uses the camouflaging powers to trick Hawkeye from figuring out where he is. Mind you, Hawkeye's a girl, so I need to remember that. Also, I want to point something out right now. The golden armor stuff, I'm taking that in my mind. It's been returned back to its rightful owner, Taladon. That's why he's not using it anymore, because all those powers were meant for him. The golden armor stuff is meant for the Master of the Beasts. When the Master of the Beasts was gone, Tom was the next to fill in that role. But now he's back. He has his armor back and he has his powers back, so he doesn't need them anymore. Tom feels sad that he doesn't have them. He just feels sad that he doesn't have them anymore, but he does have a number of other good abilities he can use to help in his quests. Anyway, of course Hawkeye gets pissed with this because he can't find where Tom is, so eventually what happens is Tom figures out that what's causing Hawkeye to go evil. It's these green feathers that are on him. So he goes up close to her and grabs the feathers and he pulls her hard, but she takes him high in the air and says no, but Tom uses all his strength and his friends and allies to help bring the buzzard down, and he falls, but with the power of his shield he lands safely because of Arcta's token, I think. That's the one. It's probably Arcta. I'm probably right. So yeah, he lands safely, but his sword hand was badly injured, so he had to fight mostly about his sword and used his hand, which is pretty cool. And he lands safely, and Hawkeye is free, which is pretty great. And with her returning, all of the herbs and crops regrow, and everyone's happy. They can eat properly food. The villagers return and they drop the pearl. They don't need it anymore. They've got their fruit back. Tom gets the pearl back, and that's another plus. But with every plus, there's always a consequence. The mistress of the beasts of Avantia shows up, Freya herself, and says that you should leave here. She's pissed off that 2 of her beasts have failed, and now they're free from the evil spell. She's actually under an evil spell, I've said before, so she doesn't know what she's thinking straight. Tom really wants to free Freya because she's the mistress of the beast, and he feels closely attached to her for some reason. And he has this feeling like he's been here before, kind of thing. It goes to my theory, as I've said before. It's pretty obvious, mind you, what the theory might be in my mind. To me, it's obvious what you get what I'm saying. I hope you'll figure out, maybe. Anyway, so Freya gets pissed off, and she says that Rock will be the next one, so you should leave now, or else, because he's stronger than... I don't know if he's stronger than this, maybe he is, but he's also a threat too, and just to pick up, he's next on the list. So next time we'll be doing with Rock, the mountain giant. Can it beat Hawkeye's good pacing of the story? I really am interested to see how it goes. Until next time, guys, the mountain giant, Rock. My brief apologies, it's actually the walking mountain Rock, not... that was Arcta, the mountain giant. So it's actually Rock, the walking mountain, if I'm right. Hopefully I'm right, but that's probably the proper title than, the other one. So, Rock, the walking mountain. Yeah, because, got it. So that's our next book next time, guys. See you then. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest Series 5. Book 3. Book 3. Rock, the Walking Mountain. So, just gonna begin things off and say right now, let's say Rock is on ties with Hawkeye so far on the best book stuff. So it's better than Crab. It's on equal terms with Hawkeye. Mind you, I do prefer Hawkeye a bit more because it's more focusing on. It felt more. There was more questions there asked, but still, I still tie it with Hawkeye because it still continues on the Tom story plot and the average Beast Quest plot. Anyway, on with the story. First off, I want to point out that the prologue does tell us one interesting thing about Rock, about what he can do. Turns out he can move his body parts so he can reform and stuff. So there's that. Anyway, on to the proper plot. Tom and Eleanor prepare to face Rock. The next piece is actually and of course they have to face Rock, who's the next beast, and the next piece / prize is a pair of gloves. So they got to find those. But they have no idea what Rock is, of course, even though his name is fucking obvious what he is. Mind you, well, this is a book, so there's going to be some advantages. I'm sure names can mean a lot of things. Anyway, Tom sees very focused freeing Freya, of course, from, as you know, from the previous book, and on this book as well. He still is focused on freeing Freya, but he doesn't understand why. Speaking of which, Tom's injury hasn't improved, it's still hurting. And finally, Velmal sends a storm of deadly bats to attack Tom and friends. Tom retrieved his sword, and despite his pain, he decided to fight off the bats and came back a second time. However, the bats came back a second time and formed the Dark Wizard, who confronted them. After bragging at the bats, they swooped in and they vanished. However, Storm got hit in the bat attack. He got bitten, so he might be poisoned. So yes, actually, I'm just going to say he is poisoned. Anyway, so Tom and friends walk and lead themselves to a mountain where they climb to find the gloves, but they encounter an old man. It's not Velmal. They thought it was, but it's not. And they didn't rise Storm because he's injured. Or he's poisoned. The man tells them to turn back, but they convince him to tell him where the beast is, where the best place to hide something around here, without telling them of their quest. He says Death Ledge, so Tom goes to Death Ledge and tells him, the old man says, don't go there, it's too dangerous, but of course he goes there. Eventually, with the power of inner strength, he manages to do it, and of course retrieves a golden box. However, Death Ledge crumbles, and of course, you think he's done for, but as you know before, he has the shield, which allows him to survive falls, so of course Tom's okay. Before Tom opens the box, however, when he meets it with his friends, they all look at it, and there's the golden armor with the, from the Series 2, but there's a second armor that's smaller, and it's right next to it, and it's Tom. Everyone assumes it's for Freya, so that raises more questions and adds to my theory on what's going on here. Continuing on, of course, they open the box, and the gloves have the power to stick to anything, so there's that. So he can climb Rock if he needs to, and eventually he will do so. So that's good. Of course, it's going to happen. You know that. Anyway, I'm just checking on my notes. Yep. Tom and Eleanor get Storm to tie on, and they make some medicine. Of course, eventually they get there. However, they are ambushed by a Rock when a fist clampers down on a building, and they run out. However, the Rock, the giant beast, has disappeared. They don't know how they did that, but we, the viewers, know because of the prologue tells us. He used the Rock powers to disappear. No, he deformed instead of reformed. So I'm surprised he doesn't do that in the fight. He could have deformed himself. He didn't want to do that a lot, so which is a shame. But I would have done that personally. But man, I'm guessing Rock is not the smartest beast of the lot. Anyway, so basically, you might find Rock is just a golem kind of thing. So Eleanor went to the nearby trees to make some medicine, but Rock reforms and ambushes her. When he reformed one of the rocks, Eleanor was standing on it, and it came to her. She grabbed hold of the rock. Then eventually, Rock swung her off into a roof, she got knocked out, and now it's just Tom to help. And with his inner strength, he manages to do an epic battle with Rock. However, he does also notice that the enchantment is in his eye, so he has to go up there and get it. And of course, we know how he's going to go up there and get it. The magic gloves. Tom uses the purple jewel, which he got from Sting, to break Rock apart, and then he reforms him. Tom thinks he kills him, but then of course he reforms again, and Tom uses the glove to climb until he reached the eye socket. So he just uses the gloves and eventually gets there. Rock is free with some more inner strength, and Eleanor has been recovered and healed with Tom's healing talent, and the medicine for Storm is given. They also decide to take some with them on their quests. However, Freya is literally on close point to the mountain. She's actually there, and Tom sees her. Freya throws a rock at him, which knocks Tom out the tree. The rock lands on a spot where Tom notices a hidden bag, and he believes maybe Freya's trying to help us. Maybe she's trying to fight the magic. We don't know. Maybe she is. Maybe she's not. But of course, once again, Tom is still focused on freeing Freya. And it still adds to my theory, and maybe it could be. So, that's the end of Rock, the Walking Mountain. Another good book, I'd say. It adds onto the Tom subplot, and it adds onto the main subplot, and it just goes to show this is Tom's story. Anything else that he's buying on his quests, and it's more expanding on his story most of all. He's focusing on them. He's got to outcome the beast by himself. He's got to deal with Freya's problem by himself. And Velmal isn't more... I like the fact that the villain is more in the background. You don't see Velmal doing much, apart from the bat attack. It's more focused on Freya and Tom as the main villain stuff. Because maybe we won World War. But yeah, that's been Rock, the Walking Mountain. Until next time, guys, I'm going to be doing... I forgot the beast. I think... Oh yeah, it's the Arctic Warrior. I think it's the one. Yeah, so next time we'll be doing the Arctic Warrior. Till then, guys, Book 4. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 5, Book 4, Koldo, the Arctic Warrior. Gotta be the best book of Series 5 now. Best book of Series 5 indeed. I must say, I was really surprised at how good this one was, but I'm gonna cool things off and get straight to it. But first I want to point out that the prologue actually starts off and begins very differently, because the villagers use torches to weaken the Ice Warrior, and as we know that the Ice Warrior, Koldo, is meant to be under an evil spell, but of course the villagers end up capturing him and he loses his enchantment shield. So when we cut to Tom, and Tom and friends are still on their quest, and Tom is still poisoned by the crab poison, of course. But they use the amulet to find that they've got to look for some scales, and of course the next piece, Koldo. Tom and friends find a glacier, and they go into this cave, and they have to leave Storm and Silver outside. They come across some of Velmal's creatures, who are these bird things. They fight them off, and eventually they see the scales. However, they come across a bear later on, and they've got to get past that. The bear wakes up while Ellen... and then gets separated. Tom eventually gets the scales, but has to run at the second exit. Eleanor tells them there's another way out. Tom eventually gets out of there, and then they've got the scales. Mind you, that bear fight did get tense, so I did like that. Moving on, Tom and friends make it to the village, and shocked to see, of course, that people are cheering. And of course, as we know, Koldo is captured in ropes and shackles. But Tom can't see any sign of enchantment that's causing Koldo to be evil or attack. So he is told by a villager to go and see the council members. Turns out he goes to the council chambers and they have the shield. They're trying to convince them to release Koldo because he's not a threat without the shield, so he should be okay. Of course they don't want to do that because he's their highest profit. Eventually, Freya shows up, and this is where it gets interesting. Freya shows up, and she's going to return the shield back to Koldo, and that's where shit's going to go down. So this is an interesting change. Instead of the beast attacking straight off the bat or being normally that. This is a very different way of doing it. It's like they've catch the people have actually fought and actually caught a beast, and now it's order for Freya to put things right. She does what she best and brings back her beast, and in order to free him completely, the shield must be gone. So yeah, it's a very tense book with trying to keep Freya away from the beast and trying to keep the people's wrong greed from using him. It's all about freedom for Koldo, from the people, from Freya, basically freedom right. Anyway, of course, Freya takes the shield and tries to return it back to Koldo. After some chase sequences, eventually Tom catches up to her on the ice lake where, it's where Koldo is imprisoned on this ice lake, surrounded by torches. Eventually, of course, Tom stops him, but eventually Freya, instead of confronting them, she cracks the ice and eventually weakens it, tosses the shield to Koldo, and since Koldo is a minion of Freya because she's the mistress of the beasts in Gwyldor, he has to obey her. So of course he picks up the shield and becomes evil again, even though he doesn't want to be evil. So then we've got the finale of Tom facing against Koldo. And the first half, they battle in the ice lake. Tom and Koldo battle in the ice lake while Eleanor gets the villagers to safety. However, Tom uses the scales to help him balance eventually because he finally remembers about those he got. And as he goes through, he eventually gets cornered by Koldo. And after some more fighting, Koldo grabs Tom by the waist and Eleanor distracts him with a torch, while Tom uses his sword to slash off the shield arm, and he's free. Because, no shield, sinks in the water, he's free. Tom also falls into the ice water, but it's rescued by Koldo in order to thank him for, his freeing. Tom and Eleanor know that the villagers will be okay with Koldo now because they saw enough to put two and two together that it was Freya and Velma's enchantment that caused this, so they have trust in him. Velma shows up and delivers a threat, of course, says you've been interfering too long, blah 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 blah. I'm going to send my next beast after you. Basically, one of Velma's average taunts. Until next time, guys. That was all of book 4 of series 5. As you can see from what I've said, it's a very good book. It's well paced, nothing overdrags apart from the first few chapters at the beginning. But it's all there to get the scales, and yeah, it's okay. But once you get down to the village stuff and the Freya stuff, it all comes down willy-nilly on this big epic tense thing. So far, Koldo's got to be a very good book for me on Series 5. Till next time, guys, I believe we'll be doing with Terra. So it's going to be good there. Till next time, guys, Terra. My mistake, guys, it's actually called Tremor. So next time we'll be doing with Tremor, the worm beast. So till then, guys, Tremor. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest Series 5, Book 5, Tremor, the Earth Lord. What do I think of it? Well, there's 2 story arcs going on for the book, so, but overall, I'm gonna put it as a whole. I'm gonna put it equal terms with Koldo. Yeah, equal terms with Koldo. I think that's gonna be a good place for me. Did I say Koldo was the best book? I think I did. If not, I'll look it up. But I think I'm right. Because what was before Koldo? What was I think Koldo Rock. Did I really like that? No. Hawkeye? Yeah, alright then, I'm right then. So equal terms with Koldo. Anyway, let's go on with the story. Tom and friends still on the quest with just 2 more beasts to beat, which is Tremor, of course, and the next one. Tom is still focused on freeing Freya, but he doesn't know why. And their map, of course, tells them that the beast and the prize are in the same spot, so they go, but they discover that Tom's wound is still injured, and he gets to a point where he collapses. She goes and gets some medicine, but there is none. then she tries to call Wizard Adoro, but instead she gets Wizard Velmal, and Velmal doesn't attack them. Instead, he gives them a mysterious riddle, and he buggers off. But when he buggers off, he teleports by using a fire blast. And then Elena uses the fire to make charcoal, and uses that charcoal to make a medicine herb that heals his wound temporarily. So they find a settlement nearby, and they go to it. Tom and friends come to the market, and after Elena gets some bread, they encounter a mirror, and they think that's the prize. They're pretty positive of it, so they trade Storm the horse, which is a risky move, in exchange for the mirror. And the owner says, if you don't return the mirror by the next rise of the moon, I'll keep Storm forever. Well, not forever, until he has a better option for it. So they leave Storm behind, and they think it's a better idea because it's probably, if they're going into a mine, it's not good for horse travel. They investigate the mine, but they're straight away introduced to Tremor right off the bat, and he captures Silver and drags him back into the caves and the mines and stuff. Tom and Elena have to go and rescue him, of course, and they think that the slime covering Tremor's body is the cause of the evil spell that's on him. And they also discover that how Tremor eats his victims is that he sucks them dry, leaving nothing but their skeletons. So they come across with, they find Silver the Wolf, and he's about to be eaten. He's stuck in the slime, and he's about to be eaten by Tremor. I'm trying to think. Tom and Ella free Silver, but their weapons, of course, aren't doing anything, right? So they decide to use the mirror. Tom discovers some crystals, which are made which have salt in them. Sorry, there's a lot of light coming off in my room. But of course, Tom discovers some salt crystals, and he has a plan. Discarding his weapons, he goes to he lets Tremor know he's basically bait, and he lures Tremor over here. Tom's plan, of course, works, and Tremor ends up crashing into the wall, into the diamond wall area, and these green jewels on his head, you see, all four of them, they end up fading away. Now this is the part that concerns me in the book. Tom assumes that the slime is causing Tremor to go evil, but I think it's the jewels that are making him go evil on his head, like some sort of mind chip. So, it doesn't actually, they don't say specifically what the cause is. Tom assumes it's the slime, so it's not really said, but it doesn't matter what route you take. But I'm personally going to stick with the jewel route because we already had slime of crab. So I think Tom assumed the slime was the cause, but that was just an attack he uses, and the jewels were the real problem. So yeah, that's how it worked. But it's not over yet. It turns out in the fight, when Tremor crashed into the wall, now Tremor's free. He crawls off, of course, but when he was evil, he crashed into the diamond wall, and when they go back to the entrance, of course, it's caved up. So, they've got to find, Tom, Ellen, and Silver the Wolf have to find a way to get up, or basically out of this. Tom uses the magic mirror again, blasts a ray of sunlight, and makes a hole, but they know to get up still, so there's that. Somehow, someone, or somewhere, a rope is lowered, a golden rope, and they climb up using that. But when they get up there, they see that Storm is, I'm trying to think, where was that? Yeah, they see Storm coming over, and he's free from the shopkeeper, but of course they think they should go back, because they have to give him his diamond to pay for this. However, their fate could come into worse time when Elena gets knocked out by Freya. Tom, of course, gets pissed at this and faces Freya. So, he faces Freya, and with that, they ends up losing the fight. It's a big surprise. I'm guessing he's a bit tired of this whole fight. However, he looks... Freya, hesitates, and she looks at her own hand. Freya hesitates, and yeah, Tom looks at his own hand, sorry, and the blood, it's healed. The blood's healed. Freya's blood has healed Tom's wounded hand, is what I'm saying. But he doesn't understand. And then it comes to him, the riddle makes sense. Velmal's riddle was something of kin, but of kin, meaning family. Yes, guys, all this time, from the very beginning, Freya is Tom's real mother. Ultimate twist. Eleanor's unconscious and sees the big shock, and that's when the story ends. Perfect cliffhanger. That's why it's on equal terms with Koldo. Tremor was the beast. The beast stuff, I thought this book was going to be a complete drag as soon as I read Tremor, the Tremor as the beast stuff. It didn't really like it was going anywhere until the ending. Even Adam Blake's people probably realised that there wasn't much focus on Tremor because the focus was on Freya and Tom. Their bitter rivalry through this series and their connection so close. Now the discovery has been realised and it's here. So, this has been Tremor the Earth Lord. Till next time, guys, we'll be doing Amictus the Bug Queen. Just got it today. So, till next time, guys, join me on for this epic conclusion to this awesome series, Series 5, with Amictus the Bug Queen. Hey guys, welcome back to Beast Quest, Series 5, Book 6, Amictus the Bug Queen. Well, after a long, big journey, we finally come to the finale of Series 5. And in my opinion, of course it's the best book, because there's so much going on now with the whole Freya stuff. And, you know, we've got a plot that had to be continued on from the last book with Tremor and the big climax. So, what's going to happen here? Let's find out. Here's the story. Tom is shocked that Freya, of course, is his mum. Velmal shows up and tells Tom that Freya wants to be evil now, and they teleport away. Adra and Teleron then show up, and Tom gets pissed that his father didn't tell him because he thought that his mum was dead, you know, and he feels like there should be no more lies in the family. So he's a bit pissed with his father. And his father does feel sad about that, and he's sad that he found out this way. Tom, of course, returns to the market, and everyone is cheering, staring in amazement. Tom, of course, flies past the crowd because he doesn't want the fame. He goes to the shopkeeper, who no longer seems interested in the mirror, but Tom, as he's pointed to a book with their images on it. Like in the painting, and now it's only a book, and of course, Tom eventually agrees that he is the son of Wildor, the guy in the prophecy, because Freya was born in Wildor and she's his mom, so yeah, put two and two together, and yeah, that was kind of my theory. There was like a few evidence in my theory of how the plot was going on. I didn't know, but I had a theory, and that was my theory, that Freya was his mom. So I was right about that part. Tom and Friend, yeah, they do have to go, they go and take the mirror, they leave the diamond, and they have to go and feed the last beast. Tom and friends make their way to the jungle to discover the name of the last beast, which is called Amictus. They find a talking parrot and an abandoned ship, which belongs to King Hugo, and that is where the lost prize is. Tom finds gold coins, which they take for to buy stuff in the future, and they also take the last time, which is the telescope, which will help them see things that are camouflaged, which will be the opposite of the ring when it does. And of course, you can hear Velmal's laughter, and his magic causes the mass to knock over to try and kill them, but Tom vows he will free his mom. Tom finds Amictus and her eggs, and he uses the magic ring to turn invisible when he's not able to move. It worked, and he's ready to face the final beast. Okay, scrolling down my notes. Tom uses his plane to face Amictus. Uses his plan to face Amictus while Eleanor and friends hide in the backup. But the plan has backfired as Amictus's babies hatched from the eggs, and they toss Tom back to Eleanor. So Tom was still determined to free Amictus, and he has discovered her evil enchantment was a green glowing poison on her claw. So now he knows how to beat. Now he knows what he has to do. Despite Tom's second second chance. He was overwhelmed by Amictus despite her efforts to rid of the poison from her. And then Tom is at Amictus' mercy. However, it would seem that Amictus is not going to go with it. Also, I just want to point out that Amictus' babies, they are not evil. They are actually they only attack Tom if he's attacking their mom. So they're like protecting their mom. That's why Amictus gives orders and they won't attack, kind of thing. Anyway, Tom is captured by Amictus now, at Amictus' mercy. However, it would seem that Amictus is trying to fight Velma's poison. Tom helps her using some thorns to plunge it all out, and the poison drops to the ground, killing vegetation, and of course, Amictus is free. And if he thinks if Amictus could be free of herself, maybe his mum could do the same. And that's apparently what she's doing, because Velma shows up with Freya, who seems more vulnerable now. She's actually trying to fight the magic. So they get Velma and tells her that you can't have your mom. They get into a fight. Tom uses his red jewel to call Amictus back. It turns out that the red jewel can not only call Avantian beast, but also any other beast as well. So he calls the closest one around, which is Amictus, and with Amictus here, Velma gets scared off, and he opens a portal, takes Freya hostage, and goes through the portal again. Before the portal closes, of course, Tom, of course, goes with his friends and jumps through the portal to a new world. And that's where the story ends off there. So, yeah. Amictus, the Bug Queen, ends off in a good, climactic way. With so much tension, and so that he really wanted him to get his mom back, but he doesn't. And it builds up to Series 6 next time, so. There was Amictus, the Bug Queen. Oh, I'm looking forward to Series 6. Just got it in the post today. Mind you, I have read it before, back in school. But I didn't know the plot. I didn't know all the details, but now I do. I'm more excited to reread it. So yeah, stay tuned, guys, because the Beast Quest is just beginning. Till next time, guys, Series 6.